I'm just going to go and grab a fresh pulse engine here. And because the transport is running, it immediately starts chirping away. And the chirping is happening at this interval, quarter notes currently, but only 50% of the time will that quarter note produce a series of pulses. And the rate of those pulses is going to have some variance, 50%. And then, it's fun to play around with the pitch, and I'll show you how we use it to generate those wild sort of musical, ornamental flourishes. So everything went back to C minor here, which, is because of the wavetable clip. Yeah. And so what we can do is randomize the pitch every pulse section, and we can also apply this LFO to the pitch, so it's following this contour going up and down. And where it gets really interesting is to add some decay on the pitch, up or down. So now every subsequent pulse in a cluster is dropping down by 3 or 2 semitones. And we can also have some decay on the note length so they get progressively shorter. And let's also make them go down in velocity. They have negative decays because we could also make them go louder, right? Okay, but it's time for some beats to go along with this, and then we're going to come back to making this a little more expressive. It's just randomly switching between pulses in this range, 16th to 64th note. We'll leave it like that for now, but so I have this charred kit here, and this charred kit, I don't know, it sounded kind of EDM appropriate. I'm going to bring the pulse chants down so we're not hearing those so often. And to create a beat on the kit here, I thought it could be cool to use the octopulse. And so let me go ahead and grab one of those. This is a sort of non-linear, polyrhythmic, polymetric beat generator. And we can see it triggering, but it's not triggering the pads that are appropriate for the drum kit. So I'm just going to click this notes toggle up here to switch it into drums mode. That immediately puts it to a chromatic key and the appropriate notes for most drum racks in live. But the problem is it's very noisy, it's very busy, there's a lot of stuff going on. First of all, I'm going to randomize the beat multipliers. So this is giving a cool pattern already. So they're all at 16th notes. I can make it a little more sparse across all of them by reducing all their play chances. So they're just a little less busy. But I think I'm going to do something a little more purposeful here. So I've neglected to do this before, but I wanted you to all hear what it sounded like when they're not on the same choke group. What I want to do, I don't want to choke the kick. I want the kicks to come through. But I'm going to set all of these in the drum rack, all the drum rack pad chains, to the same drum rack choke group. And that's going to give us what we call linear drumming. So only one of these drum pads is going to play at a time. And now we're getting this more minimal sort of call and response between all these different elements. So I'm going to go ahead and tell the kick to play every 5th kick note. And let's get these sort of hi-hats going more often. And then I can just set these multipliers to odd numbers so they don't overlap so often. So I'm going to set the kick to play every 3rd, which would be quite intense, but then I'll bring the play chance down. And then this keeps rolling in a way that's like mildly annoying, vaguely Autechre-ish, especially if I through some severe processing on there. But what I want to do now is to turn this into a more musical pattern. I'm going to set the reset interval in bars. Let's try resetting this every 2 bars. That's going to take this otherwise sprawling polymetric pattern and turn it into more or less a 2-bar pattern. So you can hear it resetting there. I want to hear which is the hi-hat. No. Is it this one? Ha! There we go. I think this one should happen way more often. But I don't want it to choke everything out, so I'll set it down to like a lower percentage. And which one is... Oh, this is on 4? No, thank you. Basically, we're in IDM town already. Welcome. Population 14 of you tuning in. Okay. So let's try and do something more expressive with the pulse engine here. I just want to make sure the right MIDI controller is connected, and it's not, so it's a good thing I checked. So let's go to the pulse engine, and what I'm going to do... Oh, is there a shuffle on the octopulse? As a matter of fact, there is. So we need to enable it. Swing 16. And this kick is really unsatisfying. I like the tonality of it, but there's simply no low end where I need it to be. So let's go and find a nice 909 or other kick sample here. And I suppose I could use the one-shot kick. Yeah, we're good. Ooh, that's good. Well, but what I wanted to do was actually combine it with the kick that's already there. So I'm just going to command drag it, which adds it to a rack. And now they're together. And it puts it to a drum sampler for me. Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and actually punch it up even. Not too much. I want that sustain on there. Okay, cool. So, expressivity with the pulse engine. So it's already got this talkative quality to it where it's generating these motifs that I certainly couldn't play with my hands here. I don't know about y'all, but yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is set it to manual mode. So that means that now, in this mode, the rate is now available for MIDI mapping. In all the other randomization modes, I can't randomize it, or I can't, automate or otherwise MIDI map it because that causes issues for live. But in manual, I can control it. So I want to do that and group this to a rack. And I'm going to go ahead and do exactly that. Let's map that to macro 1. And so let's just hear. Okay, cool. So getting towards the expressivity, what I want to do, I'm going to remove the chaos from the pitch amount just to really hear it. Let's eliminate the decay and the LFO modulation as well. And I'm going to map the pitch to that same macro. And now both of those are changing. But as you can see, when the rate is fastest, the pitch is lowest. So I need to adjust that. And I think I'm just going to invert that range for starters, and then go ahead and drop the maximum down. I don't think I want to go past, let's imagine C6. And then, unfortunately, the shift arrow doesn't work with a macro mapping. That would be convenient to move the mappings up an octave at a time. So I guess I could type the number in, but there we go, C1 to C6. Let's try that. Okay, so we're starting to get this thing that's happening that's like, and maybe I should pause the drums just for a moment to really hear the potential here. Where's my good old play pause button? Well, I'll just mute it for now. So, so I think this would sound better in a more haunting key, maybe minor pentatonic. I don't know if that's haunting, really. Let's try the incent. But where it gets really expressive, right, I use this term expressive, is when you can make the machines seem to speak. And a trick for doing that, in my experience, is go ahead and switch to a single voice here. And I'm going to enable the glide. And let's just see what kind of difference that makes. So I need to increase the length here by a bit, so they're going to overlap. So how can I make these notes bleed over each other a little more? I think maybe, I'll give it a little attack on the... Okay, as you can see, I just start to get lost in the sounds this thing generates. It blows my mind every time. It's so fun. Okay, I have to focus here. So, yeah, let's just record some output from that before I go and potentially ruin what's going on with this next idea I wanted to explore. I've got an audio track set up here, but maybe... let's just keep it in the MIDI realm for now. Just add a new MIDI track. I don't need my default stuff on there. I'm just trying to capture it in. And need my in-out routing matrix to set it to receive from operator post effects. That should do it. Okay, let's see. Yep. We seem to be good. And of course, you could assign an LFO to this note, but I mean, that robs you of the chance to explore this expressive potential yourself in a gestural, physical way, which I'm just doing with my keyboard here. You might notice my shoulders dancing around impulsively, but Okay, I think 32 bars is probably ample. And then, you know, we could edit the sections here that we don't need, for example, that little starting point. And we can also go in here and do things like, just to make sure the notes are properly overlapping, just smack that legato button, and now it should all be fully tied together in an optimal way. So let me just call that pulse incantation. Yeah, I like to use fancy words sometimes too. Okay, now what I wanted to do, what I thought could be cool to explore would be, what if we use that pulse engine to trigger this instrument, but is grouped to a rack, and that rack is going to be divided by octave range, and we're going to have a series of different instruments. So as I glide through the different note pitches, it's going to express through different instruments, therefore creating this seeming call and response between them. I've had this idea for a while. I've never tried it out. Let's see how well it works. I think the pulse engine isn't going below C1, and I think probably 2 octaves is good per instrument, and I think maybe this one is nice in the mid-range. And yeah, let's go ahead and grab, just to keep things simple, I'll grab a drift, clear my search, grab that here, and restrict the drift to our C1 to C. Yeah, B2. Okay, cool. And then what else? Let's go ahead and keep it in the IDM continuum with perhaps, well, yeah, let's do a meld. And we'll have to mess around with those settings. And I'm going to do the meld way up at the tippy top. I don't even know if we're going that high up. But then I think a collision is going to somehow be suitable here. I think we'll be able to make use of that. All right, and so the collision is going here. And you know, I've opted not to overlap these. I might review that decision and tweak it a little bit, but let's go ahead and see how this goes. Okay, so now it should be that as I tweak the macro here, it's going to shift the octaves, therefore causing expression via different instruments. And let's yeah. Now, if I hadn't been dealing with emergency plumbing issues today, I might have had time to do a little more sound design in advance instead of hearing these admittedly seasonally appropriate Christmas sounding chimes. Maybe we'd have something a little more IDM appropriate. Let's go ahead and just grab something here. I am partial to their marimbas. And I think it would be emphasized further if we were to, for example, pan them a little differently. Okay, we'll come back to this and hopefully find a way to use it in the musical context we're going to continue working on. I don't know about this incense scale. It's kind of cool, but I'm not totally convinced yet. Let's see what else we find in this process. Let's get our little beat going again. And this, which drum is giving that sort of flute sound? Oh, It's our it's our pulse engine. Sorry, gang. Okay, where was I? Yeah. Okay, let's use octopulse now to create a more consistent melodic foundation for what's going on. And I think something maybe also operator FM driven could be appropriate to that. And let's go ahead and grab another octopulse. This time I'm not going to use the drums mode. I'm going to leave it in this sort of MIDI mode and make sure this track is armed. And let's go ahead and first of all, just randomize the multiplier pattern, see how it sounds. And of course, dropping it in, it's already got the in-send scale. Okay, so it's a little pitched up. And I also don't want it to be polyphonic. Let's try this last mode. So that's going to say only send the last note out monophonically. Nice. That's kind of working for a section. So I think an interesting way to work can be to successively record different patterns. So I'm going to leave this pattern how it is, and let's capture it on the same MIDI track, which I'm just using as a sort of capture zone, and I'm going to set it now to receive from our operator. Wait, yeah, operator 3, yeah, okay. And that looks cool. And it could be good to do this in take lanes, but what I'm going to try and do is just, yeah, let's see how this goes. Roughly every 4 bars, I'm going to smash the randomize and get a new sort of pattern going. Oh, and I can see these notes with the way Max processes the monophonicness. It's not really capturing how I want. So I might have to just go into the operator and address that by setting it to one voice. Okay, that's almost 16 bars. So now I'm just going to end up with a bunch of different motifs here. And the rate got unlocked. I want to make sure the basic rate stays at 16th notes. Okay, and I'm going to get a bunch of these different motifs. I don't know if this one's not really doing it for me, but that's fine. And, okay. I'm going to create some percussion with the pulse engine as well. But I realized one thing I want to explore here in this other octopulse is to enable the Euclidean mode. Okay, cool. Now what we can do is simultaneously arm this track for MIDI, and now I can transpose operator, or rather the octopulse feeding into it, so it's in receive mode. And then, yeah, let's record that while I tell the drums to just calm down for a moment. I have to edit some of those sounds further, but yeah, let's go back to our operator here. There we go. It's cutting through a little more IDM-ishly. Okay. And so that expressive transposition, that's what's going to bring us into the expressive IDM territory here. So let me just record into this MIDI track as I transpose here. Just playing in actually on my QWERTY keyboard because my push is not connected while I have this headset in for streaming. We'll get that fixed at some point. I'm not manually gating notes, I'm just transposing them. Or, well, yeah, I mean, in a way, in this monophonic mode, they're trying not to overlap, but the max object I use to do that isn't parsing them as well as I would like at the moment. I might have to look into that. Okay, so I've created this elongated pattern here that we can now use with the Euclidean approach to the actual pattern. And you can see in the pitches the transposition I was doing. And so now we've used this operator to create this sprawling polymetric pattern that I could not have come up with myself. And now we can leave it in place for future use, but currently I'm just going to deactivate it and drag this back, and I'm going to call this Euclidean transpose. And yeah. And to chill the kid out, in case you didn't catch that, I just brought the chance of all the 8 pulses playing down to like 20%. And if I bring it up to 100%, now we could try and gate the bass to the drums and maybe gate the pulse engine to all of that as well to create this real hocketed interplay between different elements, not unlike what I did sort of internally, moving through those different racks here. But yeah, let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do to add some pulse engine flair to the percussion, first of all, let's dial some of these sounds in. There's one percussion sound that's kind of annoying me a bit. I think it's this one. Yeah, that one, it's cool. Maybe it's a bit too frequent, among other things. So it's here on pulse 3. Just make it less frequent. Oh no, it's on 4. That makes sense. Oh no, it's on pulse 5. Yeah, so I'll just make it play less often to begin with, multiply by 5, bring the chance back and down. Apologies, 3 and 4. Bring you back up. So we're kind of mixing the drum layers with probabilities. That's kind of just a funny way to think about mixing. But okay, back to our sound design here. Let's just go ahead and give it a little filtration. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and randomize on a per note basis that filter frequency with, of course, one of our favorites, the good old MIDI sample and hold pro version, which is going to be mapped now to the frequency. Hearing some weird latency there at times. I find the latency during streaming is really unusual, but I'll add a little slew to smoothen that out. Maybe a little too pronounced, but okay. And now what I want to do, okay, so this one also, this is the other one that's annoying me, so let's go ahead and drop some filtration on there as well. Just activate the filter right here in Simpler. No need to grab a fancy external device. Just a little activation helps. So I've got the high pass on this one. And might as well go ahead and give it the same treatment with its own randomization here. Okay, IDM town, we're living it. We're living the dream. So yeah, what would be really cool, right, is if something like this, well, first of all, might be nice if it happened a little less often. I like that it occasionally plays twice in a row, but what I want to do now is add a pulse engine to this pad specifically. And yeah, I'm going to drop it here because I want these to happen on a per inbound note basis. I'm going to set this mode to fill and the pitch to receive. And now you might notice, for those familiar with our dear old friend Beat Repeat, it's basically doing what Beat Repeat does, but at the MIDI level. So it's doing these pitch decays down. What Beat Repeat can't do is pitch them up. Not that you would necessarily want to. But with percussion, it gets really cool. Again, we can increase the length decay, but if we shorten the length decay, we get these really cool little artifacts happening. So the fill mode ensures that it plays only between other notes that are coming in. Whoa, getting a little hectic. I like it though, I like it. And so then I could say, let's make the bass pitch of these 12 semitones higher than whatever's coming in. Sounds kind of chipmunky with that tonality in there. And just to hear the difference of like why I put the pulse engine after the sample and hold, let's just hear it the other way around. Now the filter's going way too crazy because it's getting triggered by each of these tiny little intricate pulse engine artifacts. So let's go ahead and put it back here so it's only responding to the inbound note. Okay, yeah, so if you are able to withstand just this sound over and over, congrats, you're probably a music producer. Let's unmute our kit here, see what else is going on. Okay, so I think I want to also try something crazy, which is to occasionally send this sound through a big reverb. I think it's going to give us a lot of extra vibe. So I'm just going to go to my drum rack sends, and let's go ahead and I'm feeling special. I want to treat myself today, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the hybrid reverb in there instead of just the standard reverb. I think I think I deserve it. Yeah, let's go for the algorithm. Let's go for the shimmer. Make it nice and long, nice and big. Drop a healthy high pass on there. Don't want any mud coming out of this thing. And so then, what do we have to do? Okay, so now I'm gonna go, I have to view the sends. There's the send A for this strike. And now I'm gonna go back to my generative tools. I'm gonna take the MIDI dubber. So this is a chance, every time it gets a note, that it'll go to maximum. I'm gonna say, only do that like 25% of the time. Let's go ahead and throw that here. I don't know if y'all heard that. I think I want to... Yeah, we've got that going on now. Okay, let's get our Euclidean transpose operator going here. See how that's working. Little room reverb. It's got those weird high note clips from when we had the last mode on there. I wonder if the low or high mode would eliminate that. But it's kind of working. I like it. Okay, and we need to put this on our instrument rack. And we're not getting anything there because I don't know if that's really suiting the vibe here. I think that's something else. It was a cool experiment, but I think it's maybe for another time. Okay, we've got our Euclidean transposition here. Let's start recording some of this. With this as the kind of core component. I like how it's going with this sort of more minimal Autechre vibe. And yeah, I think the marimba and all that was kind of ruining the vibe. I think actually, you know what? I think that other clip might work if we just use the drift and the operator together. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so now obviously the drift is conflicting with the pitch of the operator. I think I might, yeah, I think I'll leave the operator transposed where it is, but maybe the drift can go up, and it's obviously just a default patch that could use a little bit of work itself. Try to transpose it up an octave for starters. And yeah, let's, you know what, since we're just doing these two, my giant mouse I set up for the stream is giving me some trouble here. That's the problem with sometimes trying to set things up for everyone to view, is that I want to get the fade handle in there, and I don't know if there's a context command for it. Oh, there is a view bigger. There we go. That'll help, maybe. See when you, aha, yes, there we go, finally. I hope you all like watching me struggle. Yeah, there we go. That's doing what I want. So we're going to just crossfade those C1 to C7. Okay, let's solo this while I work on the drift component. See if we can do a little pitch modulation with the LFO here. I guess it'd be amplitude modulation. Not really hearing it. Oh, there we go, obviously. Gotta turn it up. Adding a little extra texture. Maybe I need to... There we go, getting some nice noise. Applying the LFO to the filter. Let's also go mono with the glide on here. So it's mimicking the operator a little more. Oh, here's the pitch mod with the LFO, of course. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so that's a big question, Kozeps. I want to try and take it at the end because I'm afraid it'll derail me from what I'm trying to do here. But let's come back to that. I'll give it a think. Yeah, so I think what could be cool would be let's go back and explore harness and maybe identify, isolate, and use a few different sections from this MIDI operator. Okay, that's cool. I like that 4-bar chunk. And so I'll call this operator 1 and move it up here. Option, drag it down. And we're good on that one already. I didn't like that one, if I recall. Let's check out what this is. No, I don't like that. Let's try this one. I think that actually has promise, but I want to shorten it. Like I like some of those lower note flourishes that are happening, and I want them to be a little more. And then I'll just take all of these way up top there. I don't know what those unscaled notes are. Oh, they're down here. They're kind of working though. Okay, but so I was thinking to maybe just deactivate those. Yeah, all these short ones I'm just going to deactivate while they overlap. They're kind of cool, but... And then these high ones, I'm just going to go ahead and drop their chants down. Cool. Scatman to unlimited for sure. Nice. Okay, and then this one here. Okay, we may or may not use those. We've got these two other options aside from the bigger Euclidean transposition gesture. And so then I think what I might do is just quickly do a rough arrangement. I said I'd make an IDM track, but I didn't guarantee how long it was gonna be. So maybe let's add one more layer. Let's mess around with meld for a second. I like the idea of these scale harmonized chords, but yeah, let's just see. I know meld has some fun stuff I haven't explored quite enough yet that could be good for pads. And yeah, so what was I doing here? Just had the one long note, right? Yeah, it's a 4-bar note. And excuse me, sir. There we go. 8 bars, okay. If you say so. I think I'll go back to the 4 bars. Yeah. So as you might have seen, they recently announced Max 9, and I can't wait to sink my teeth into some of the components there, but I know one of them is replicating the LFO effects that we have here in Meld, such as this attenuverter, which is reducing and then inverting the phase of the LFO. So let's go ahead and, map it to some stuff. Yeah, so let's go ahead and target should be macro 1. Yeah. Let's get something a little more, let's get a different shape here. Let's try this. No, I don't want a Euclidean pulse. Let's do the wander. So you can see it's reflected back on where the sort of randomized wander would normally be. We're just in this basic shapes here. Let's isolate it and try one of the... Oh yeah, I think the IDM cops are on their way. There we go. I don't want to overdo it with that, although it could really work. Let's try this extra tone. So it's too much modulation. That's what's happening. Okay, that could work as like one of the layers, but let's go ahead and just maybe pan it. Drop the tone and the volume. Try and get something a little more tonal over here on oscillator B. Yeah, that's nice having that weird noise over there. I'm calling it harmonic FM, but okay, let's go with one of these scale aware ones. Okay, yeah, so let's get the motion on there. Going with the LFO. Yeah. go back to the wander. A little more stepped, and try. Let's try this independent sample and hold. We should be moving that one around. Oh, yeah, no, that's correct. Okay, this is definitely something. It's got some movement and like, yeah, kind of like it. Try one of the stacks. No, let's just spread it out a bit. I can set it to 4-voice poly because I can see the chord's not going to output more than 4 notes at a time. Save myself a little CPU, not that I'm hitting the limit or anything. Okay, so that's going to provide an additional texture. And then, you know what, I think being IDM town, I think this might require some kind of granular synth sample. Maybe I'm just going to go ahead and record my own annoying voice into live as I quickly add it as an input. There I am. Very good. Okay, I don't want to hear it. Let's just record some audio directly about IDM and all the things that we love to do with it, and how this is going to add that last sort of crucial texture that's so important for any kind of classic IDM sound. We need that inscrutable granular tone kind of shifting throughout the stereo field, and I think that might be enough for what I need. Make sure it recorded. That looks like good levels, except for that one peak there. It's unfortunate. Anyway, we'll fix it in post. Okay, simpler or granulator too. I like to sometimes use simpler for this. Let's just keep it in a simpler, so nice and accessible. And then I got to turn the loop on and loop the start. No, I always get a little confused here. There we go. Move the start around. Okay, cool. So what's going to happen is that I'm going to play a continuous note here. Let's do an octave down. I think that'll be a little more IDMable. And I'm going to make it continuous with the loop region never hitting the start or end. And then what we're going to do is just modulate this start time with random LFO. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves an LFO along those lines. I thought I might have added this, but I might have, with the latest updates, moved them around. So I got to go to my golden versions here and find that. Let's grab an audio LFO Pro. Why not? And there we go. So yeah, might as well just leave that on the stray or glider mode, and I'm just going to map that to the start time. And because the start is right about in the middle, then 50% modulation should be moving it around up and down. Okay, we got to repitch it. It's too low. It's too low. Let's go up to there. Okay, that's way too long. Also, let's do 0.23? So I don't like that it's scanning back and forth between the same regions, even though it's doing so somewhat randomly and not in an exact sine pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and just use an actual random, and it's going to stay at a position for, say, every 4 quarter notes. Oh, those are divisions, not multipliers. IDM town. Oh yeah. Smooth it a little bit. Yeah, okay. So I put it through the send reverb, but maybe we want to just wash it out completely with a reverb directly on there. You know, pitch loop 89 is also a great thing to explore for this sort of stuff. But and a little filter, maybe. You know what? I actually made a rack that could be pretty cool for this. I think it's called Wobble Verb. There we go. This could be interesting. So basically, yeah, let's go ahead. I think there's another one in there I could try as well that's got more of like some other ripple verb. That's the one I meant. Ripple verb, please. So it's just basically an all the way wet, nice long big reverb with auto pan on there, which we could widen a little bit. Yeah, IDM City. So, you know, that's just absolute garbage, total nonsense that I put in there. Now we got this cool granular texture doing all kinds of stuff. All right, so let's turn it into our IDM piece. I don't think the meld's going to come in right away. I'm just going to mess around. Don't judge. I'm going to mess around for 2 or 3 minutes and see what we get, and then I have some ideas about how I might approach a quick edit of the arrangement. Obviously, doing the whole automation, transitions, and mixing would happen in subsequent sections, which I can't guarantee will be televised, but for those that watch the previous sessions, you should have a sense of that process by now. And if you haven't seen those yet, those are up on the channel in the Manifest Sessions playlist. So, yeah, I think the meld will come in later. Don't do that. Get out of here, goofy voice. I don't want you to happen anywhere except for inside our little granular thing where nobody can understand my goofy words. Okay, and so now let's go back and here with the Chard kit, what's going on. Okay, so I think I've got this little MIDI controller here, a little nano control, and I'm just going to go ahead and MIDI map a few things to perform in real time. I've already got the pulse incantation, so maybe I'll just use it to gradually increase the drums, except for, let's see, I can lock the play on the kick drum, which is on pulse 1, so that if I adjust this, yeah, all the other probabilities change, but the kick stays at 69. I did not set it to that number on purpose, despite what you may believe. Okay, let's map it to the nano control, and now, oh yeah, there it is. So this allows me to use that global chance as an arrangement tool, so I can have sparser sections and more busy sections. And yeah, I'm just going to rip through this, I think. Let's set the launch quantization to 4 bars. That's a little more civilized. And just wondering if it might be good. It's probably smart to capture the octopulse drum's output as MIDI, because I've not actually done that yet, and it's going to capture it with that adjustment on the chance as well. Cool. So yeah, I should reset my default MIDI track without those 2 devices on there, because I find more often than not I end up just removing them anyway, but I thought it would save me time at one point. Okay, in from Chard Kit to Post Effects, and it's getting it. We're live. We are rocking with that. So I'm just going to bring the chance all the way down. So we're just going to start with the kicks and the granular stuff. And the kicks are a little too busy. 69 is just a little bit excitable. I think 55% is more reasonable. Oh, and yeah, it'd probably be nice to be able to control the ripple on there a little bit as well, the rate. So let's map that to this other dial. That's probably going to keep me busy between those two. Okay, yeah, that's a good starting point. Okay, we're within the city limits of IDMville, my friends. So let's commence recording. Arrangement loop brace is off. Excellent. Start transport with record, also disabled. Okay, now just give it a little stretch and see what happens. Just starting with this one clip. Just increasing the chance on the drums there. Operator's going to need a little work. Some transitional edits are going to help as well, I feel. Let's go for our second operator. Probably want to get busier with the entry of that second operator clip. Time for some meld, perhaps. I don't know if that meld makes sense with our pulse thing. Well, this is just totally random nonsense. I think we might want to just stick back with our Euclidean transpose. Wow, that meld is so detuny. I don't know about it. I think it's a little too much modulation, but I'll adjust that later on. I'll adjust it right now. Okay, I didn't say it was going to be a good IDM track, but we made some sort of IDM track here. It's a lot of work, but we explored a lot of techniques, I think, that fit under the IDM umbrella, and different techniques that, you know, if I weren't under the clock, that I think bear further exploration, like this idea with the pulse engine getting expressed through two different racks has a lot of potential, but due to plumbing emergencies that consumed the better part of my afternoon, I was unable to do the sound design that might have helped give us a bit more of a head start on, you know, getting those into more IDM sounding territory, let's say. So we're starting with this operator here. There's nothing there. And did we capture the drums? I didn't record them. That's so funny. I created the track, but I didn't set up to record them. That's maybe good because let's actually record a pass of them now. And I think, like, for example, what I noticed is, like, yeah, I think these want to not be overlapping, and I see these repeating notes at the end here aren't going to make so much sense. So I'll just slide that over so that the pulse cantation and the Euclidean transpose are not fighting with each other. And I think it's a little long. 3 minutes is about what I was aiming for. That's pretty cool. And yeah, so there's that. And let's go ahead and arm this for MIDI. I didn't do that maybe. Lots of mud pie generating potential. Hope you're talking about the good kind of mud pie. The kind that is made of fudge like your grandma used to bake. And not the kind you want to see the doctor for. Okay. So I still have this mapped here. And I think it is a smart move to start with the chance minimized. So starting with just the kick and the granular gobbledygook. Noticing a frequency in that kick that's a little ringy, a little bit ringy. That's fun. I can just kind of introduce drum elements with the chance dial. Uh-oh. I'm accidentally recording over other automation. Yeah, I don't love that. operator pattern that starts off. It's too busy at this point anyway. But it does kind of build nicely to this one. And that operator, once I start bringing it more to life with modulation stuff. Ugh. That's a gnarly meld chord. So just minimize the drums a bit. Okay, so I'm being reminded of this section. While it was fun to make, it's just totally out of place. And what I might do instead is take very short excerpts of it for little transition points throughout the track. So we'll explore that in a moment. And drums are still coming in. Okay, nice. I think the automation for the Granular might have been overridden. Let's see about that. Oh, that meld pad is just awful. Wow. I really dialed in a unpleasantly detuned sound. But, you know, not recording a 2-track analog tape. We'll go and fix that after this little drum capture pass. And, yeah, once this Euclidean transpose sequence comes to its conclusion, I think that's the tune right there. Okay, and there's the drums. And then what we can do is simply go back here, deactivate the octopulse, and drop that drum clip up there. And I think I was messing around, not really paying attention properly, and allowed those through at the start, which I can just disable. Okay, and yeah, so about the gobbledygook from this, like what I was thinking is maybe just 2 bars at a time at a few judiciously distributed intervals could be worthy of some exploration. Take maybe one more of these, like this one here. Okay, and then just use those when stuff happens, when changes occur. Zoom by spiel. Okay, there's that one. I'm just quickly looking for where changes are happening, and actually I'm starting to sense I could get away with maybe a couple more, although I don't want to overdo it here. Okay, there's a good spot. Let's leave it like that. And then crucially, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of our operators during those segments so that everything is copacetic. Everybody's getting along. And then the meld, what's going on with that? I think it's the LFO effects. Some of them get pretty detuny. Maybe if I just bring those down. Yeah, it's a little more harmonic. And there we go. That's just opening up more space. There we go. So much more palatable. Okay, yeah, it's totally working. Just gonna like remove those kicks during those pulse engine flourishes as well, just like really let them shine through, because, you know, there's only, what, 6 of them here? We're only going with 6. And then this whole section where they were intended to flourish is, well, you know, like castles made of sand. Sometimes we just got to let stuff go. Command-Shift, delete time. Don't we all wish we could delete a little time from our lives here or there? Waiting in line. Okay. How convenient is that? This needs a lot of tidying up, obviously. But it's something. And then just to give this some progression, I think I'll go in here and let's go ahead and just take all these and chance them down a fair bit. And then the second half of this 8-bar chunk, they're going to be at full intensity. Okay, so all of this needs a lot of refinement and work, but we've got the sketches of an idea and how these different things might interact with each other. I would definitely take different segments of the pulse, like really sift through it and find the choice bits, for example, and then same goes for the operator, a little bit of, you know, just editing, essentially. But we got something in the vein, and you know, it's really fun to just sit down with these tools. Pulse engine, octopulse, I haven't shown what they can do in a long time. And I feel that the octopulse really excels at generating these kind of staggered, angular rhythms, polymetric patterns that are so distinctive to what sometimes gets called IDM. And the pulse engine as well, maybe not the best example of it, but similarly excels at creating these really intricate flourishes that can be quite expressive. And, you know, then using the octopulse as a melodic tool that's expressing all these dynamic, unfolding, probabilistic rhythms, but then transposing it to give it a story, to give it a narrative. Yeah, so I think there's a lot there, and then yeah, a little bit of goofy granular at the end too. Did I? No, okay. There's some automation. I need to get that going. Let's just go ahead and. I wish they would add like a wander type random shape here in the automation shapes. That'd be a real time saver if it could just auto generate something a little more irregular, but can't have it all. That's life. Okay. Something like that. I don't know. A little triangular angular situation. Yeah, let's compress it. And it's almost time to answer that question I've been avoiding from Kozeps and do our giveaway. Are there any last questions that have come up throughout this whole process? Kozeps asked this wonderful question about which artists, past or present, inspire the way I think about rhythm, melody, or generative systems in music. And okay, so just thinking about IDM, I hate to be a homer using Ableton, but I am a big fan of Mono Lake's early works, Hong Kong, Gobi, those sort of albums are in this perfect zone of sort of meditative, otherworldly IDM sort of stuff. But on the IDM tip, I also love Square Pusher and more outlandish kind of stuff. Autek are obviously brilliant. I love their more electro-leaning stuff with slightly more regular rhythms. But in terms of inspiring the way I think about rhythm or melody or generative systems, you know, you might notice embedded in a lot of the tools I've created, there's different ways of getting these devices to talk to each other through the relay system, through the option to, for example, gate and side each other, use the gate mode and side mode to get things doing call and response. And then, of course, I've got things like Xtranslate and Xponder that are really built around these ideas of creating conversations, but hopefully building beyond just a two-way conversation into what really inspires me on the generative side of things, which is really just a kind of ecosystems approach where you get these organic agents, so to say, that are intertwined with one another, interdependent to varying degrees, and interacting with one another in a sort of organic way, expressed through inorganic sounds perhaps, but embodying some kind of organic traits in the system that they present. I hope that makes sense and answers your question sufficiently, Kozeps, always with the astute observations. Any other questions that have come up before we move on to the final segment of our session as I go and reach for my lottery device? Steve Reich. I guess you're talking about, yeah, I guess there could be some Reichian elements to what I described. Okay, we've got our lottery track down here. So what's a good IDM number? Let's go 512. And so how this works, to be clear, I feel like I made assumptions. People saw the first one and knew how this worked, but I realize now it's better if I re-explain it every time. Have I seen creative ways that other artists use my devices? Sonification tools, in particular, have generated a lot of really interesting use cases. In the sonification field, of course. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I have to think on that some more. But yeah, I know there are really creative ways people have put them together for live sets and installation work as well. But describing specific configurations off the top of my head, maybe I'll come up with that for next time. But that's a good chance for me to say that I always love to hear about how all of y'all are using our stuff. So please share in the Discord how you're using stuff. And if you ever share on your socials like Instagram or Twitter, well, Twitter, I don't know about that, but Instagram, wherever you post stuff these days, Blue Sky, I don't know, tag us. And we're always excited to see how you're using it and to share it. AI integration with sonification tools. No large language model integration on the roadmap right now. We do have some new features coming to the sonification family, but yeah, Kozeps, that'd be awesome. Yeah, it's a great, I'll try to start a thread in there inviting everyone to share this stuff, but don't be shy. Okay, before everyone leaves, everyone's got busy nights and places to be and things to do. So how the lottery works to win the Pulse engine is the range of my random note generator is set to 512. That means it will randomly select a number between, excuse me, 0 and 512. So that means before I spin it, before I click generate, I need everyone in the chat who wants a chance to win the Pulse engine to type in the chat their guess between 0 and 512 right now. Do it. Enter your numbers. Get them in. I'm only allowing a minute for the number entry. Some of you might have Pulse engine, so it might not be so exciting. But yeah, go ahead and drop those in the chat, and that's how we distribute the prize at the end. Let's get this fired up. CR coding with the 311. Nice. Kozeps Ableton is stocked all the way up with MFA. I love it. I love it. Love the support. 312. David B. just saying, let's go one higher than CR coding. Well, CR coding has a bigger range on the low side Anybody else going to go higher or lower than those two numbers? Okay. 30 seconds to get it in. It's going to come down to CR coding and David B. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, in fact. CRCDNG. Just assuming it stands for creative coding. 75. We got a 75 on the low end. Okay. With this next break, I'm going to spin it. Doesn't want to generate? Oh, it's in note mode. That's why. 512. Keep it fair. Okay. It's meant to trigger by MIDI note, so I had to switch it to manual mode. Now I can generate. I'm going to wait for the next break to do it. Get the drama fully anticipating. And we got a 148. Oh, by a hair. It's going to Catherine. Catherine gets the pulse engine. Just by a hair, right? Because 156 or higher would have been closer to creative coding, if I'm not mistaken. But falling below 150, it goes to Catherine Alexi. Okay. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. That's awesome. Hope you enjoyed this look into IDM generation, generative IDM exploration. I hope you all got something out of it. And for those that didn't win and are still interested in this stuff, I should mention, I'd be remiss not to mention that we have a pretty serious Black Friday sale ongoing now until December 3rd. Everything's a third off. So you'll see the code to enter at discount, or the discount code to enter at sale, to get that on the website, but I'll type it into the chat right now. And that is, I believe, my browser just freaked out on me. Excuse me for that. There we go. That's the code to enter at checkout. And Catherine will be in touch somehow. I'll find you. I'll find a way to get you your Pulse Engine discount code. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I wish you a safe, healthy, and creative, productive weekend and days ahead. Be exploring some techno with MIDI tools in a couple weeks will be the next one of these sessions. So stay tuned in for that. Take good care, be well, and we see us next time. Ciao.